Hello and welcome to ThePapare.com. You're on the breakdown with Paul Toya filling in for Sabir Kader, who's on an extended honeymoon actually. Welcome, Paul, to the breakdown. We are looking at the action from last weekend's games, which are the Dialog Rugby A Division League games, which has 8 games. And the important thing, or the funny thing about this weekend's games, are 1 plays 2, 3 plays 4, 5 plays 6, and 7 plays 8. We'll start with that first 7 plays 8 game. CHNFC trailing 26-0 at halftime, scoring 26 points after halftime, but lost to Police by 45 points to 26. For Radhisha Seniuratna, player of the match, lots of tries scored for both teams, but defence a little problematic.
Yeah, that's right. I think the key here is that lots of tries were scored, which means there wasn't anyone making any tackles. So both teams were just running through each other, really. 70 points scored in a match means that not many people are making tackles. It's just going from set piece to try line and then back to restart again. So both of those teams will need to step up their defence if they're going to make any headway up the table.
Yeah, almost a point a minute scored there, but not because of the quality of the attack, because of the quality of the defence. So tries for CH Famudara Madhushankar, Lakshan Jayapala, Kasun Srinath and Prabhat Jayalath. Vishwadinath converted 3 of them. And for Police, Udaraka and Rajata Sanzoni, Roshan Silva, Riza Rafaidin with 2 tries. Praveen Charles, Sujan Koritwaku with Rajata Sanzoni with 5 conversions. And the other game we watched on the weekend, Paul, was Army playing Air Force, and this Air Force team has improved tremendously over the course of this season. 24-15 at halftime, but with the wind, Air Force managed to hold out Army 29 points to 32, an exciting game.
It was an exciting game, Shanaka, but both teams allowed each other to play very good, clean rugby. It was an excellent showcase for what people should do at the breakdown, the decision making and body height, and also what to do once you hit contact. But as I said, both teams let each other play, so the defensive pressure wasn't huge on each team, but it was still a really close match, and there were good skills shown. I thought Air Force just shaded it because their backs played a little bit better. Army backs, they couldn't seem to hold on to the ball, and they couldn't make their way over the advantage line often enough to make a difference, and so Air Force came out on top.
Army also missing the services of Ashan Bandara, their regular fly half, so they had to switch Mohammad Rizvi around when he came back into the base, and they brought in the experienced man Upali Vikramasinghe. Then those box kicks started making a little bit of ground for them, but at the end of the day, it was just not enough to bridge that gap of 9 points that they had at halftime. So tries for Army. From Danushka Talbatta, who scored 2 tries and got a yellow card, eventful game for him. Tisuru Adhikari and Sumed Nanayakar scoring a last gasp try, which almost allowed Army to snatch that game at the end. Gayan Saling the 3 conversions and 1 penalty. And for Air Force, Gimhan Silva scored 1 try. Surya Kishan, who was very good in that game, also scored a try. Saraka Verala, the number 8, scored a try, also saw a yellow card. And Ishara Madhushan with Charit Seniuratna, 2 conversions and 2 penalties. A man of the match for his controlling of that game. It's probably the difference between the sides. Paul Gant, Iddamal got to the fly half.
Yeah, that's right. I think he used the wind the best. I thought Army really missed a kicker with any nous on how to use the wind and apply territorial pressure on Air Force. So that's where they came unstuck.
Yeah, so watch for these 2 teams making a dent on 5 and 6 when the second round comes around. And speaking of the second round, that's where Kandy have to focus their attention now. They've managed to stay unbeaten at Nithavala. CRNFC went up to Kandy with high hopes of unseating the defending champions because they'd already lost twice. And at halftime, at 22 all the red shirts thought maybe we've just got this one after so many years. But it was back to normal, service being resumed. 53-29 is how it finished.
Yeah, that's right. Look, Candy, the 2 games they lost away. So when they're at home, they're very difficult to beat. They're a whole different kettle of fish. And so in the second half, their home advantage really told. But also, I thought CR really defensively, they didn't show up for this game, and they did that again last week as well, where the forwards weren't really a presence in the Police match. But they just, like you can see in the first try, where the ball goes up and no one from CR even contests for the ball, and it just bounces around and falls into Candy's arms, and they go through and score a try. Radwata, he really kept them in the match. He's playing fantastic rugby at the moment, so he's the one that's really holding CR altogether at the moment.
Yeah, it was a couple of outstanding tries from Ratwata, and the backs looked dangerous when they went outside, Paul, and they actually scored probably better looking tries than Candy did in the entire game. But Candy just managed to exploit some soft defense and just go over. It was like a training ground exercise.
Yeah, they were really soft tries actually. So the coaching staff at CR will be pretty disappointed in that, and also they'll be looking forward to when Ryan Perry comes back. I think he gives them some sort of backbone and the forwards and leads by example. So let's hope he's back soon.
Yes, sorely missed, definitely. And for Candy, Dhanush Karanjan, 2 tries, Vishwamitra Jasingh, 1 try against his old club. Dhanush Dan, also a try. Yakub Ali, Richard Dharmapala, Soiru Anthony scored an outstanding try from the base of a ruck. And Tiruna Vijay Singh put over 6 conversions, 1 penalty and a drop goal for good measure. As well for Sia, Kavindu Pereira managed to score. Ashan Di Costa a breakaway, and Thalinda Ratwat, 2 tries, 3 conversions and 1 penalty, keeping the red flag flying in Nittavala. And then we had the game of the first round, as it were, Paul. We had the unbeaten teams beating each other, Havelocks versus Navy. And from 13-3 down at half-time, Havelocks managed to come back and score 26 points in that second half to just 6 points from Navy. And it turned up upon almost one single substitution decision.
Yeah, that's right. They changed halfbacks. De Silva came on and he made a huge impact. His running from the base changed the dynamic in the attack and defence. Navy both teams actually have such great defensive qualities. Their systems are really well honed. The players all know their own roles and responsibilities, and so they fall into a defensive pattern very quickly and then push up really hard. So the Navy try that they scored was all about their defensive pressure. They just flooded the area, and as soon as they got over the advantage line, they had huge numbers coming through. So De Silva came on at half time. He changed all that. So instead of seeing a static 9, he became a running 9, and he just put his forwards into positions. And also I saw in one point where he was yelling at his forwards and pointing to the area that was the defence was the weakest because they weren't resetting quick enough, and then saying that's where we need to attack. And that sort of leadership and guidance from a 9's essential, and it really was the difference in this game.
11 tries CH between CH and Police, Paul, at the bottom of the table, but just 3 tries here. That's a real testament to the coach's defensive planning.
It is a testament to the coaching, and it's so comprehensive, their defensive system. So every single area of the park is taken care of, every single situation. As I said already, all the players know their roles and responsibilities. But what I liked about it was that as the teams got further and further into the game, they started working out ways where they could try and manipulate each other and find holes as they were playing, which is great for a team. So it means that the coaches are giving the players enough freedom and enough space so that they can start thinking on their feet, and they try and work out the answers to this and the solutions to problems that they find on the field, which is encouraging for Sri Lankan rugby.
And 2 good kickers going at each other head to head as well, Tiruna Vijay Singh and Dulaj Pereira, Paul, and that was good to see because the forwards were really winning penalties for both teams. Dhanush Pereira, I thought, was outstanding. Shara Fernando as well, really good. So 2 good kickers also going against each other, Paul, head to head. Dulaj Pereira, the highest point scorer of the season. Tiruna Vijay Singh, the highest point scorer of last season. And their forwards really gave them some good points accumulation material, didn't they? Shara Fernando was outstanding, and Dhanushka Pereira also really abrasive guys at the breakdown. Good to see that kind of play as well.
Yeah, that's right. The breakdown was where the game was, I'd like to say it was won and lost, but it wasn't won and lost there because both teams were so fierce at the breakdown. It was sort of like a nil-all draw between the forwards because they were so, both teams were so abrasive and so up for the challenge. But there are a couple of areas that coaches can work on. I thought the use of the high kick and also the taking of the kicks needed a little bit of work from both teams. That area needs to be worked on, and also maybe the Navy attack needs a little bit of work, a little fine tuning. They can find some holes around the ruck, but I think this game will be the game of the next round as well. It looks like the defence is so fantastic. I can't see anyone else getting near them at the moment.
Yeah, and at Valisari, it's going to be a different story for Havelocks, that's for sure. It was a really close game. It was 13-3, then it went to 13-6, 13-all, and then 16-all, 19-all, and eventually it was just a try from Lasinda Vishan. And it was a good piece of work as well, wasn't it, Paul? It was just Mututantri shifting that point of attack quickly on the line, and Nishan was able to just break through. So it was a good awareness and game situation awareness from both of them.
That's right, but it was good reading from the leaders of Havelock Sports Club, because they recognised that there was great pressure coming in first, second and third defenders, and there was a little bit of space just outside there, and it took them most of the game to work that out, but once they did, they found that little hole, and he sort of waltzed over, he had one man on top of him, but it was a lot easier than what the rest of the battles were in the forwards.
And that was the difference between the two teams. Shanal Dilak and Lasan Duishan, two back rowers scoring tries for Havelock's Dulaj Pereira with 2 conversions and 4 penalties. And for Navy, Dulanjana Vijay Singh has scored what can almost be termed as a controversial try. Went back to the TMO for a forward pass, but wasn't sure that the angles were the best for the TMO to judge that. The Havies players certainly thought it was a forward pass, and the Navy supporters weren't hearing anything about it. Tiruna Vijay Singh, 1 conversion and 4 penalties from him as well. So that was our game of the first round. We have Havies who travel up to Kandy next week, and that's going to be an important game as well, because Havelocks don't want to have any sort of blemishes in the first round if they have to go through and win this title unbeaten, but Kandy also invincible on their home grounds. Lots more coming up. Thanks, Paul, for joining us. That's the breakdown. We'll see you next week.